So Taylor,
What's up?
What trend are you watching in 2016?
So I don't know if it's a trend, but I'm wanting to see if Saudi Arabia is gonna back down, if they're gonna decide, yeah, maybe producing as much as we're producing isn't the best idea for everybody.
But Taylor, they're trying to capture market share.
I know, but maybe they do it alone. Maybe they convince Russia and Iraq to hop on board.
That's actually what they want. They want to get the Russians to.
Well, because Russia's producing at record levels and Iraq's producing at record levels right now, and so is the United States. But they know we're not going to back down. So I think maybe they can convince Russia or Iraq to do it, or maybe they just realize we're a little overboard right now.
If they don't do something, what's the point of OPEC if they're not going to do it? If they're going to leave things to market forces, what's the point of OPEC?
Right now, there isn't a point to it after this last meeting because
there's no
ceiling. It's just like a party twice a year, and they only met for 7 hours, and then they got the hell out of there.
Really?
And that's a long meeting.
Yeah,
they said that was a long
meeting.
That. Yeah.
Wow.
It was a Friday meeting, and then they all left.
I guess they're not. I mean, it was in Vienna. I guess none of them are really into skiing because I could definitely find something to do in a weekend in Austria. But
they said they all left angrily and got on their private planes and flew back to their country. So, I don't know what the point of it is. Maybe it's a cigar club for
for sheiks.
For sheiks. Well, no, because you have Venezuela in there, and they're not very chicy.
So the most politically correct of the industry-focused shows.
It's true.
It's true.
So that's my
cool.
Maybe not a trend, but I'm hoping to see their opinion change.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. Tyler.
This is a 2-year continuation almost of something I've been watching since 2013. It was a prediction I made back in 2013, and everybody was like, and I said back then, I was like, a coal company's going to go bankrupt. Like one of the big ones going to go bankrupt. And you had one go, and then last year I said another one's going to go bankrupt, because if you look at the market forces that are attacking coal right now, it just seemed prime for it. There was a lot of debt-laden companies, and lo and behold, who was it? I think Alpha Natural Resources this year did. And going into 2015, the market conditions for coal have not improved at all in these past couple of years. And in some ways, it's actually gotten worse. The price of coal is still going down. And looking at the pressures that are being put on coal,
including natural gas, which is at...
I'm not talking about environmental regulation pressure. I'm talking purely
economic
switching cost to a more economical source, such as natural gas.
That also happens to be cleaner.
That just happens to pass muster.
What they say.
So they say.
Yeah, you can make the argument on leaks of methane and things like that with natural gas. But let's just looking at it from a purely market standpoint. I mean, natural gas is, I believe, actually below $2 per 1,000 cubic feet right now at trading at Henry Hub. And when you have prices that low,
I got 20. Can I have 10 cubic feet?
Exactly.
Yes,
you can have 10,000 cubic feet of natural gas.
In fact, I got 40.
I'll fill full HQ.
You could start arbitraging natural gas with that much money. That's how cheap it is.
Woo.
So when you have that much pressure being put on the coal market, and there's still a lot of debt-laden companies in this space, I don't see... I want to watch this year if we see an even larger correction in terms of other companies pulling the plug, scaling back production, and just really, I guess you could say, ripping the Band-Aid off really, really hard here. I'm looking at companies like Peabody Energy, largest coal producer in the United States, been hemorrhaging money for years and has not been able to cut production enough to bring the market back into balance. That I'm fascinated to see what happens with this
Peabody's got a market cap of $140 million, and it's the largest coal company in the United States.
Yep.
All right.
I believe if you were to go back and look at that, they're down like 98, 99%.
Is that, did they do like a reverse split in there to get the $7? Because that's what their stock is.
Yes, they did. They did do a split.
I was like, yeah, there's no way.
Speaking of, I think Halcone just did a reverse split.
Oh, of course they did.
Yeah.
I mean,
because they were in the 20 cents range or something like that.
Yeah.
All you need to do is do a reverse
split.
So moving on to the story that everybody really wants to know about. Will oil finally rebalance? And will the price go up in 2016? Who wants to go first?
I'll go. I don't know what we mean by rebalancing, but
Will supply and demand, because it fell supposedly because we had too much supply. So there's that.
It might come close, but I don't think prices are going to breach $60 or $70 a barrel. But I wouldn't be surprised if the sector is a top 3, top 5 performing sector in the market for investors.
Motion seconded. Tyler.
So much of when we talk about oil and gas, like its ability to rebound, it's always to talk about, oh, will Saudi Arabia produce or not produce, or what's going to happen here. But one of the most critical things is, we were talking about this before the show, is the difference between basically the physical properties of oil reservoirs and the amount of investment that goes into the sector. This past year alone, $220 billion worth of investment has been pulled out of energy. And I'm not talking about on like the markets. I'm talking about companies scaling back capital expenditures. So that much less money is getting poured into reinvigorate reservoirs, drill for new oil.
And these aren't just shale.
No, not just
drills.
shale.
These are long tail, big projects.
And if you look at the decline rate across the world, you're looking at a decline without reinvestment of 3 to 4%. And as that declines and demand does increase, you're gonna get a rebalancing. And at the levels of spending, there's been a lot of analysis on the difference in spending, what's going to mean for production projections from people. The widely held belief is that the market will rebalance towards the end of 2016 in terms of how much is being supplied and how much is actually in demand. So what that means for prices, I don't have the slightest of clue. And I don't think anybody in this room, in this building, in this state, in this country, or even on this planet knows.